34-27. Michigan wins and survives and defeats Maryland today, Sam Webb. It was a lot closer than we expected. We both predicted Michigan to cover the 17-point spread, but the Wolverines still did what they had to do to get the win. J.J. McCarthy looked more like Clark Kent than Superman. The Blake Corum looked like Superman, and the defense had its great moments, and then they had their lapses, but in the end, it's still a win. They got their first one in Big Ten play. The board is yours.
Yeah. So, guy tweeted at me, "Your boy looks like trash." First of all, why is he our boy? Why is he like everyone's, like every Michigan person's boy, right? As soon as he has a game where he doesn't look like Tom Brady, suddenly some are ready to jump out the bed. I don't get the mentality. It was inevitable. There was always going to be a game. I didn't think it would be this game, but there was always going to be a game, or maybe two, or maybe more, where he didn't look like the best quarterback in college football. I mean, he had an 88% completion rate, right? Every pass was pretty much on point. And so today was just one of those days where he just wasn't his typical stuff. JJ doesn't miss deep shots like that. He missed 4 today.
Right.
Like, that's not, like, if you watch this kid, you know he is an excellent deep ball thrower. Yep. And you got to really be putting some, if you're overthrowing Roman Wilson and Andrew Anthony, if you're throwing it farther than those guys can run, yeah, man, the adrenaline, it's his first full game, it's the first real opponent. It was a big test, right? So, you know, I think it was just one of those days.
Right.
You know, from a decision-making standpoint, throwing the football, he didn't make many questionable decisions except for the one where he was trying to hit the corner.
Lucky it wasn't a pick.
Yeah, he was trying to hit the corner on the north end zone, and he was late to it.
Right.
He was late to it. That was the only questionable decision throwing. The questionable decisions that he had that I think they're really going to, and that's when they'll address, but the ones that they really going to be like, hey, man, we gotta be more yeah, man.
He can't hold on to the ball like he's Kyler Murray out there. He's trying to make too many plays. There's only so many guys that can do that.
And when you can throw it like he can throw it, when you can run it like he can run it, you always think you can make that play. That's the thing. If you have followed what they've been saying on the inside since he's been here, they would say there are those 1 or 2 times every practice where JJ would just, you know, there's that play.
And we saw it.
Yeah, he tries to make that play. So corralling that, he's done a good job of that so far this year. Sort of let it out of the corral today. But fixing that is doable, right? I mean, he learned some things about the limits of what you can do against talent at this level. I think he'll make the adjustment, but you got your bell cow behind you. You got Blake Corum.
Yeah,
and that Blake Corum, I mean, he took a wedge to the house.
Yeah.
Right? Terrific vision.
He even said it was supposed to go 2 yards. I saw you tweeted that yourself. I'll give you some props on that.
Oh, that's what he said. That's
the
what Blake said.
The 4th and 1 before the half. He said that play was only supposed to go for 2
yards.
And
That's exactly what I said.
Did he read Sam Webb's tweet?
Exactly. It was a wedge.
Right.
That play is designed.
They caught him off guard and they busted it.
Yeah, I mean, that's just great vision because a lot of guys, based on the play call, I'm just going to dive in here and get the 2 yards. He ran and had his head up. He didn't have his head down on the play. He was still using his vision on that play. And I swear the last series that they scored on, I'm telling you, I got to go back and look at it, but I think they ran the same play or a variation of the same play like 5 times. It was duo right, duo left, duo right, duo left, and great vision to bend it around the corner. He's reading the Mike linebacker on a duo play. He was able to bend it off of him and get it around the edge. Great job by the offensive line and great vision by Blake Corum again. You have that can carry you a long way, and it carried Michigan a long way today. But like I said, I mean, backup running back, you need Donovan back. You got to grow C.J. Stokes up some. Yeah. Jim was talking about that. Scheming the wide receivers open more frequently. I mean, you saw J.J. kind of have to hold the ball in the pocket. And these, you know, you got good guys. You know, you have good receivers. So scheme them open more frequently. And then J.J., when they are open down the field, you got to hit them. And he will. And he will.
We got to switch it up to the defense. We got to tip your hat. One guy I got to tip your hat to is Luke Schoonmaker. Probably his best game is a Wolverine.
No, the tight ends. Luke Schoonmaker.
No Eric All.
Yeah.
Schoonmaker came up big. Then you had the younger guys.
Colston Loveland, I think, recovered an onside. Matt Hibner, I think one of them jumped on like a fumble.
Bredesen had a nice catch.
Yeah, man. The tight end stepped up in a big way.
Definitely. But now let's switch it up to the defense. All right. You know, you got to say the first half, Maryland sort of punched them in the mouth. It was sort of methodical, like 5 yards at a time. Boom, boom, boom. They led at halftime, 13-10. They had almost 200 yards total offense.
Yeah.
And then they had that big running back. They were making some plays. But then, Michigan sort of settled in on them, but it was about the big plays. I think Michigan had the 2 interceptions. The R.J. Moten one was incredible.
Yeah.
And you got to tip your hat to DJ Turner. He had a great diving interception. But then it was the chunk plays that they were giving up at the end. Is there any concerns there?
Yeah, so there are some concerns. First of all, if we're giving the game balls on offense to Blake Corum and the offensive line, the game ball on defense goes to that secondary. Steve Klinkshell's boys were balling today. This is an outstanding receiving core. Now, is it as good as Michigan's? I don't think so. It's certainly not as good as Ohio State's. But after those two, I think this one is right there. So the question was, would these guys hold up in one-to-one, man-to-man, mano-a-mano, the way that they did against other teams? And they did.
Right.
And they did across the board. Great game by Jamon Green at the very start. Great game by DJ Turner coming up big. I thought the other guys, the safeties, whether it was R.J. Moten's interception, I thought Mikey was pretty good in coverage. Their issues. So there were 2 big issues in the game, and this is one of the things that made the coverage so even better. They didn't get a whole lot of pressure for 3 quarters.
No pressure.
So when these receivers running around with that much time, and Tagovailoa being more dialed in, you had an offensive coordinator that I think had a really good rhythm. He was able to find some things. It was predictable that they were going to try to punch Michigan in the mouth when the times where they got Michigan in the game last year. They were few and far between, but quarterback power play. I mean, they were hitting them between the tackles. So it stood to reason they were going to try to do that again. And then when Michigan tried to load up on that, they hit them with a trap pass. They had a big play going to the north end zone. It was a trap pass, and then they came back the next play, and they ran like 4 trap passes on that series. So the coordinator was dialed in, man. He was really, really sort of keying on how he can sort of gouge Michigan. To their credit, they were able to get pressure up front, and Jesse Minter was able to dial up some pressure in the second half. But the concerns are pre-snap lineup. Remember the 4th down conversion? Yeah. That conversion was made before the ball was snapped. Guys couldn't get lined up. And you saw the communication on pre-snap assignments be an issue in this game. So they have got to clean that up. Guys got to, even on the touchdown, the very last touchdown by Maryland, what was the linebacker doing on that play? I don't think he knew where to be. No, I'm not saying that to joke. Right, I'm saying that as an illustration of what we saw throughout the game with some of the pre-snap communication. Who has who on a given play. And that's something that they got to clean up, as well as they got to be able to get pressure from the beginning of the game, not once you get midway through the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. As a defensive back's best friend is pressure, and the fact that they did so well, considering they didn't really get any pressure until the end of the game, really tips like you said, tip your hat to that Michigan secondary.
See, but to me, everything that we talked about, the majority of it is really doable. Like JJ is going to be, he's not going to miss 4 or 5 deep shots. He's just not. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. You're going to have receivers getting more open. This was their first real competition. Even for the coordinators, their first real competition, right? So I think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see the pre-snap communication on defense. I think you're going to see that get more crisp. If there's one thing that I have a big question about, like heading into this game, it was, would your secondary hold up against some guys? Now it's, can you get pressure with 4 against real teams? That's the biggest question for this defense moving forward out of this game.
Well, Michigan's going to have a week to prepare for their first road contest in Iowa City against Iowa Hawkeyes. Haven't won there in a minute, but hey, stay tuned for all our coverage and more. This is Sam Webb. I'm Josh Newkirk for the MichiganInsider.com.